Welcome to Mine Explorers, episode 27.
27 already.
If you didn't see last week, we were in the field prospecting, and we talked a little bit about mineral exploration. So today, we're going to make mineral exploration the focus of our episode,
Yeah.
and talk a little bit more about the process, why it matters, some of the different intricacies, and hopefully you'll learn something along the way.
Yeah, and I'd like to cover why getting a good land status research is so critical to mineral exploration and why starting with land status is so important and making sure that your land is secure. But before we get into that, we have Mine Explorer stickers.
So drop a comment, send us a message if you want one, and we will mail you one, or two, or three.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for stickers.
Yeah, they're cool.
They're fun. They're fun, and whenever there's a deal, I always buy more.
So let's get back to our safety share. My mom is a regular watcher of the show, and she pointed out the other day that we did safety shares for a couple episodes, and then we stopped, and that it was a good thing to do. And
Also, happy birthday to your mom.
happy birthday to my mom, 60th birthday.
It's very exciting.
And yeah, so safety share. There are a lot of fires burning in the West right now, and they are started from all sorts of things. So I saw a fire the other day right here in town, in the Salt Lake Valley. Someone was mowing a dry field with a lawnmower, and it hit a rock and caused a spark. And he called 911 immediately, and they rushed out. But by the time they got the fire under control, it had burned 2 apartment buildings to the ground.
Is that the one in Mill Creek?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So like 70 people are now homeless and displaced
Oh, my
because
word.
of that. Now, no injuries. Everybody got out. They were evacuated. I think there's probably some pets that were lost. I know
Oh,
the
how
article mentioned
sad.
pets that weren't accounted for, but something like that. So dry grass. Be very careful driving near dry grass, parking on dry grass.
Yeah,
Your muffler, catalytic converter.
gets
If you
very
sit
hot.
on top of dry grass, it gets really hot. It can start a fire. Dragging chains, super common one. When you got your trailer and the safety chains and stuff, or other chains that are dragging, that can create a lot of sparks and heat.
Fireworks.
And
We
then-
just celebrated Pioneer Day. We had 4th of
Yeah.
July not too long ago.
Fireworks, we're fortunately through that for the most part,
Yeah,
but always something to be careful of. And then obviously
campfires.
campfires, make sure they're out.
Yep, it's camping season, so you got to make sure you put your fires out.
Yep,
Yeah, smother it.
make sure it's out, dead out. Smokey's watching.
He is. And it's up to you to prevent forest fires.
Yeah, and still, I mean, the number one cause of forest fires, I believe, is still man-made.
Yeah,
So there's still some that are lightning and different things, and they do happen, but a lot of them could have been prevented.
for sure.
So that's a safety share. So let's talk about why, Crystal, is mineral exploration so critical right now?
Mineral exploration is always critical. Now we're just talking about it more publicly and in the mainstream media, which is exciting. I mean, everything comes from minerals. If it can't be grown, it must be mined.
And everything that's grown is made with mined tools and fertilizers
Yeah.
and everything. So yeah,
Yeah, you're not farming with your hands.
modern
you still
civilization does not exist without mining, and ancient civilization would not really exist without mining. We're going way back to like caveman times.
yeah, and even then
to
they were
take mining
inventing
out.
tools and very rudimentary mining, right?
Right.
So it's been around for a long time, so it is not going away, and we just need to find ways to make it better, safer, and more environmentally friendly, which is what the industry has been doing for a long time now.
So I think most people have no idea what it actually takes to go from idea to a mine. How does that happen? I think there's probably a lot of there's a lot of misconceptions in the media and movies and things, like there's just
Movies are the worst
a
for
farmer
mining.
or a rancher or an old cowboy walking across the field and he kicks a rock and it's gold or it's silver or whatever, and then a mine starts there. And there's plenty of mines that have been discovered that way, but all modern mining comes about through a systematic process that's driven largely by pioneers who are a little bit crazy.
Yes.
And they have a high risk tolerance.
You need the prospectors.
And they participate in this thing called mineral exploration. What is mineral exploration?
It's when you go out and you look for economic minerals, meaning you have a mineral, but can you sell it and make a profit on it? Because what's the point of starting any business if you're not going to make money?
Yeah, it all comes down to the economics.
Yep. And being in the U.S. space, we are all, nothing in the U.S. For minerals is government owned, right? So it has to be economical. The government's not going to come fund it.
Right.
They invest into some
mines,
mines,
yeah.
right? But for the most part, it has to be self-sufficient.
So going back real basic, if I want to start a coffee shop and I want to know if there's a market,
Yeah.
I can do a market study for a few $1,000s in
Yeah.
time. If I hire a firm, maybe it's $20,000. But if I go out and I do the study myself, I can do a market study over the course of a couple months, and I can find out, are there enough customers?
Sure. Is there a demand?
Can I permit it? Can I get a building? Can I start a thing here? Is there enough demand? What can my pricing be? I can build a whole price list, everything.
Yep.
To determine if a mine is going to be economic, or if it's a good decision, business decision or not.
Oof.
I think on the low end, for like a construction aggregate mine, you may be looking at several $100,000. But on the high end, for a lot of large polymetallic mines, copper, gold mines, things like that, it can be into the hundreds of millions of dollars to fully prove out the economics.
Well, absolutely, because I mean, if you're just walking around, you find a nice shiny rock, you take it to the lab, it's promising, right? That's the very beginning of your mineral exploration journey.
Right.
I mean, just like, for example, the diatomaceous earth deposit we were visiting last week. We know there's a deposit there, that's cool, but is it of grade? Could we sell it? Is the land even available? Like, there's so many things that you have to ask and find answers for before you can even say you can make money on it.
Yeah, and it's daunting, and it does vary a lot between the commodities
For
that
sure.
you're looking for.
For
But
sure.
in general, proving the economics of a mine, it ranks among the most difficult of things to prove out.
What do you think the most challenging mineral is to mine economically at current prices?
Rare earths, for sure.
Rare earths. And that, do you think that's mostly due to the processing of the rare earths?
It's the complexity of the processing.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think it is for sure, because if you look at the economics, there's not a rare earths mine that's had long-term profitability that wasn't subsidized by a state or government.
Yeah.
So, like, we've had Mountain Pass, and even still, they're not going from ore to finished product.
No.
They're concentrating, they're getting it along the way, but they're still not doing the whole thing. And they've been profitable at times, but not long-term profitability. And China, the big producer, for them it's a strategic thing, so also not profitable. So when you say complexity and difficult, the most difficult to make money at, rare earths for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, they're very complicated.
Yep.
So we've talked in general terms about mineral exploration, kind of negatively to overemphasize the difficulty and stuff, but it's really made up of fairly simple, straightforward steps
Yes.
that can vary in complexity depending on what you're looking for. So let's talk about phase one, greenfield exploration. Now, there's two different types of exploration, mineral exploration, two broad categories.
Yep.
Greenfield, new, never been mined before, new area, new concept. Brownfield, you're looking for more minerals in an area that's already been mined. So acquiring a mine and drilling different sections of it and exploring, going into an old mining district and looking for ore bodies that haven't been discovered. And a lot of the time just going deeper. So going into somewhere that was mined, maybe shallow, and maybe there's a common thing that happens is you have like an oxide zone, and that's been mined and it's economic, and then you get into sulfides, you get into refractive ores and things like that.
Right.
And that part of the ore body hasn't been developed because the technology and the economics weren't there, and then somebody can come in the future and mine it and make a profit. Or, as we're seeing more and more of over time, going back and remining tailings. That's a classic example of brownfield.
Yep.
Greenfield, brownfield. We're going to talk about greenfield in this episode for the most part.
Yeah. That's where most of our clients focus on, is in the greenfield realm.
So, first thing you start with is really you define your area of interest. So, ideally, you already have a commodity in mind. I'm looking for uranium, coal, gold.
And ideally, it's a
earths,
commodity you are
pozzolans,
familiar with, and you
yes.
understand the deposit type, you understand how it works. You just might not be familiar with for example, if you're an Australian and you're like, oh, I am very familiar in gold or copper, but I want to find a deposit in the United States, but you're not familiar with the land status, it's always great to hire out for that.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that in just a second. So, first thing you define is what you're looking for and where.
Yep.
Area of interest. And then from there...
That's a lot of research in and of itself.
And that's what I like to call the desktop study. So you generate a list of targets, you define where you're looking, why, like a lot of Australian explorers recently have gone, well, the United States is becoming more nationalized, they want more domestic supply.
Right.
They're turning away from global and focusing more inward. Let's own mines in the United States. So they're focusing here. Then the desktop study, you go, okay, I'm looking for apples. I'm going to go where there's apple orchards.
Yes.
Where they've been historically. So then you narrow it down. You look at the geology, you look at the different stuff. Then you go to the land research. Tell me about land research.
Ooh, that can be real fun.
Yeah, high level. We'll keep it high level because we got a lot to cover.
Yeah, land research at a very high level. I mean, you want to first and foremost make sure that the land is open for mineral entry. So if we're talking specifically on BLM land, that's Bureau of Land Management lands, that's your public lands, you need to make sure that that is open for mineral rights. So you need to be looking at the plat maps, the what do they call, the MLRS. You need to see, are there active claims in that area, active mining claims. That's a good indicator that it's most likely open for mineral entry. From there, let's say it is open, you would want to go out in the field and stake some claims.
Yeah, and along those lines, so just backing up even further, your example was really great for the Western United States.
Yes.
But I'm talking more just general mineral exploration. The land research is really figuring out who owns the mineral rights.
Yeah, who owns the mineral rights?
Is it private? Is it a rancher? Are there railroad sections where
true.
the mineral rights have been severed and sold to a railroad company who packaged them up and sold them to a hedge fund 20
the
years
split
ago?
estates.
Yeah, who owns the mineral rights and are they available?
Yep.
Because in a lot of areas, like little side tangent, if somebody owns the mineral rights to an area and they own them outright and they give them back to the federal government, they don't become locatable again.
Right, the government just hides them.
They just hide them away and they don't have a mechanism to make them public
So
again.
doing proper land status research is really key, because the worst thing that you can do, and this is speaking from experience, is claiming a spot that you think is locatable and then come to find out it's not.
Or making a deal with a landowner and assuming he's got the mineral rights and drilling and making a huge discovery and then finding out they don't even have the rights to do anything.
Yeah, so, and it's not super straightforward here. You have to make sure that the land that you're on, is it public, is it private, is it state, is it Forest Service, is it national? And
on big projects, it's going to be a mix.
For sure.
It's pretty rare for big projects to be just one. There's tons of projects that are mostly federal lands, and then they have a few state sections.
Or they're private lands.
Or for brownfield sites in the western United States, there's almost always patented claims that are private, surrounded by federal and state.
And you still have to make sure that those patent claims have the mineral rights attached.
And even within state or within federal, you can have different types of federal that you have to navigate. So
we could do a whole episode on land status.
And we've gotten into it a bit, and yeah, it's a little too highly technical for just general viewership, but it is pretty interesting. So next step, staking, acquire the mineral rights.
So we're assuming it's BLM land, it's public, the mineral rights are open. We're going to go out and stake it.
Or you're making an agreement with the landowner, you're doing optioning. And getting leases with the state. And it's funny because there's a dichotomy. You've almost exclusively worked in the West on federal lands. I do a lot of my projects on private lands throughout the rest of the United States. So like, just in the last few days, I've talked to several landowners with projects where they're private land, they own the mineral rights.
That'd be so much better, though.
So I'm doing lease agreements, royalties, or I'm working with the landowner to help them sell a property and do that. So there's two different sides to it, but essentially the same process. You acquire the mineral rights, be it an option, a lease, staking, mining
some
claims.
sort of method.
Then the fun part, you get into your initial field work. Sometimes you do a little field work before acquiring the mineral rights.
Absolutely, because the acquiring mineral rights is not a cheap investment. I mean, you need to make sure that that the land you want is the commodity you're going after.
Or it has good odds.
It has good odds, right? And then you need to determine, well, okay, I'm going after this commodity. I probably need about this much land, or what's available.
So once the initial field work's done, you acquire the mineral rights. Then there's more field work that's pre-permitting field work. So this is non-disturbing,
these are
impact,
hand tools,
mapping,
you're walking,
chips, soil sampling, drone surveys, soil sediments,
non-disturbance,
geophysics. A lot of geophysics are non-disturbing or low disturbance. So do your initial field work. Then on almost every project, there comes a point when the drills need to start turning.
That's right. You need an exploration permit.
Before you jump to the drills, you need an exploration permit. And once again, get a very highly, depending on where you're at and what you're doing. Once again, on the private lands in a lot of states, you can just go drill.
You can, I mean, we did a program here in Utah on private lands, and we could drill up to 50 feet without a permit. So it's kind of nice.
Yeah, so you can do that. But generally, bigger projects, federal lands, or split estate, mixed ownership.
I mean, anything on federal lands, you have to.
You're doing a notice of intent.
Just
and 3809 NOI, notice of intent, which basically is
it's an exploration permit where you get up to 5 acres of disturbance.
5 acres of disturbance.
For the entire program, not per hole, for the entire program.
And that includes your drill pads, your roads. The roads eat it up.
Oh, absolutely. That's why you always want to, best case scenario is you're using current roads, and then you're just going off to the side for your drill pad, and that's easy reclamation. And then plug in the holes, reseeding, cleaning it all up when you're done. Absolutely.
And all that's planned out ahead in your 3809. Then you get to
and bonded.
Really phase 3. So we kind of went through, phase 2. Phase 1, greenfield. You've got a project now.
And phase 1, that's what we were talking about. That's like best case scenario. We've seen phase 1 stay in that phase for years. I mean, we have one client that they're still in that phase. Like they have their permit, but they're just waiting to drill. They're just waiting for that next round of funding so they can go out and drill.
Oh, and that's common. And there's a lot of delays in the funding where you drill, you don't get the results you want, shareholders are disappointed. So then you go back, you analyze the results, you come up with a new plan, you get a new group of shareholders
excited.
That's why
economy plays such a huge role in all of this, because if you, like for the lithium is a perfect example, the lithium boom that we had a few years ago. Everybody was so hot to trot. They were staking up swaths of land. They were like getting their NOIs ready, getting their exploration permits, and then nobody cares about lithium. Bam, market drops, it hits the floor, and then.
And it came as no surprise to anyone who was paying attention.
Oh no, we weren't
Because
surprised.
it's just a hype cycle, but
For sure.
that's a tangent.
It's a tangent, but it's important to note that when people say they're going to start drilling on a program, that can take a long time. That can take years.
Or just a few weeks, depending on who they are and where they're at and their ability to do things.
Yep.
We have one client that acquired a copper project that had a historic resource that they needed to bring up to modern code or modern standards, resource standards, in order to be listed because they were going public. And they drilled that entire project, put together their studies, everything, to find a whole new modern resource in 6 months, start to finish.
That's amazing.
A lot of capital, well-funded, great team, great execution, can be done, but it can take years too. So once we get to drilling, so we're talking about drilling. So drilling, geophysics, now you're taking an idea, you're taking the results from your initial field work and you're proving your theories. You're proving out your model, you're proving out your theories, or disproving them and getting new data that modifies your understanding of things.
Yep.
So when we're drilling, I think a lot of people think it's like drilling for oil, right? You drill a hole.
Hoya.
You drill a hole, you hit oil comes gushing out. Oh my gosh, we hit it. Or you don't, right? You drill a hole, it's dry, you're sad. But in mineral exploration, we're not always just looking for minerals in the rock. So that hole, when you drill a core, in particular, you get different data from different types of drilling, but when you drill a core, you can see faults, you can see stratigraphy, you can get a really good lay of the land. So even if you have a hole that's barren, that doesn't intercept any mineralization, and often holes are drilled that aren't intended to hit mineralization, but they give you an idea, they give you a snapshot of what's going on underground, so then you can understand things like faulting, and you can understand the stratigraphy and where things are going, and you start to understand the structure, and that gives you great data. And then in like these lithium projects we've been talking about, a lot of these guys who are drilling, they're looking at the brine and they want to sample the lithium brines, that's great, but they're also looking at where are the aquifers, where's the best conductivity for an aquifer, a basin, where are things flowing, where's the shale at, what's providing potential catchment and different things. They're looking at all that stuff. So you get a lot of data from the drilling. So there's a whole round. You kind of, your first phase, you do early drilling.
Yep.
You have targets, you test your targets. Then you bring the core back to the core shack, or if it's RC, you take it to the lab, you analyze the chips. And to kind of give without getting too far into the weeds on the different types of drilling, core drilling, you punch a hole, you have a bit, and it drills a hole, and you basically end up with a cylinder tube. And they vary anywhere from 1-inch core to great big 4-inch core. And core you can look at, and it gives you kind of a picture of the underground, and you put it in boxes, and you can study it. You can split the core and send half to the lab and keep half to study later. You can do different things. RC is reverse circulation drilling that's much cheaper. It's a fraction the cost, but it pulverizes the rock and you just get chips that come up.
Yep.
So for geochemical or just testing the if there's gold in the rock or silver in the rock or whatever, it's great for that. But for studying the stratigraphy and the faulting and all that stuff, you can still get some data from it, but it's much more difficult. But depending on what you're looking at, RC has a great place. And for a lot of deposits, really big low-grade gold deposits, things like that, in areas that are well understood, they'll do a combination.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of programs will start with RC drilling because it is more affordable, and then they can do another round of funding and get to the core.
Back to the Australians, they love RC. They do a lot of RC. But there's great projects like Black Pine. I mean, it's like 8-to-1
Yeah.
of RC feet to core feet. But with all the RC, they know, like, okay, we really need a core here. And they do something really smart where they just go huge core size, and they take the core, they get whatever data they need from it, visually studying it, but then they can use that core in the ore body to do their metallurgical testing. Because it gives them enough bulk material from the ore body to actually go do the column
Interesting.
testing.
So does that mean they do less
recovery, all
holes
that
then?
Stuff. No, it's just different data.
Interesting.
That project, they're progressing towards feasibility.
Right.
So they're taking their ounces and they're upgrading them and looking for new ones. And so they're doing a lot of more closely spaced. We're getting way ahead of ourselves with the early stage. That's very advanced.
That is very advanced stage.
That's when you're into you're $50 million plus into a project. With
Yep,
drilling
and big
testing.
permits. Yep.
So you take all this drill data in the early stage, you go back, you're doing 3D modeling, you're analyzing it on computers,
Yep.
and you're using it to upgrade your model and your target and find additional targets. Or if you find nothing and there's nothing intriguing,
Oof.
it's a good time to pull the plug and move on.
Yep.
2, phase 3, advanced exploration and resource estimation. So first phase we talked about, that's usually the first 1 to 2 years of a project, and about $500,000 to $2 million on average. Obviously highly dependent on where it's at and what it is.
For sure.
Then in phase 2, that early stage, you're about $1 million to $5 million. Once again, depending on a lot of things.
Very high level.
Yeah, because to go out and drill 10 holes to 300 meters, get a claim block, do your geophysics, do the lab, set up a core shed, hire some geos, like you're a couple $1 million.
Yeah, definitely.
So then you get into your phase 3, advanced exploration resource definition. Like I was talking about with Black Pine and Liberty Gold, they've defined a resource, they're upgrading the resource. So they're actually in phase 4, not 3. But for much of the project that I've been following exposed to, we've gone through phase 3 and I've been really kind of closely following it. So that's when you take your model. If you've hit targets and they're good, then you're doing your step out drilling. You're going, okay, maybe you drill 2 holes and you've got 50 meters in each hole at 1 gram a ton, oxidized gold, near surface, looks great.
Yeah.
Then the big question is, okay, we got something here. How big is it? Because it's back to those economics.
Yep.
2 holes, maybe they're anomalous, just went through some weird ore chimneys.
Yeah,
or
you got lucky.
Jasperoids that are a little bit higher than everything else. So now you're going, okay, how big is this thing? And you're doing your step out drilling, and then in another phase you're doing maybe infill drilling, because maybe you go, okay, it's highly budget dependent. If you got all the money in the world, you drill all the holes you want.
In an ideal scenario, yes.
Yeah, because sometimes you may drill here and it's fantastic, and you drill a mile away and it's fantastic, and then you go, oh, are these connected? And that's called infill drilling, because then you're drilling and filling in the middle, and maybe you find out they're connected, or maybe you find out it's 2 completely separate ore bodies or occurrences, and then you do more step out and infill drilling, and it's like playing Battleship. It's like playing Battleship.
That's a pretty good analogy, actually.
What do? You hit, okay, E5, it's a hit. Now you go, okay, I'm going to go all around this thing to figure out, Do I have the submarine? Do I have the aircraft carrier?
Yep.
And that's what you do. So it's like playing Battleship. And all the smartest guys in the world with all the best computer models and AI and everything can generate targets and concepts and theories, but you really don't know till you punch the holes.
Absolutely.
Gotta
Yeah,
punch the
boots
holes.
on the ground is so key in mineral exploration.
Boots on the ground, holes in the ground.
Yep.
Yep. And so the phase 3 is $10 million to $25 million, 1 to 3 years.
Yep.
Really depending on
Really
what you're
depending
looking
on,
at.
yeah, the size of the drilling program. I mean, your permit is going to eat up a lot of that because you have to be bonded. So before you even can put one hole in the ground, you have to have a bond to reclaim that entire
Well,
area.
and let's talk about that in terms of phase 3.
Mm-hmm.
So phase 1, early stage drilling and testing, 3809 notice level.
You still have a bond. It's usually, well, I can't say how much it is because it depends entirely on the permit.
Yeah.
But from what
yeah.
we've seen, they range in like the $10,000 to $50,000 range.
Yeah, and it's going to be all over the place depending
Yeah.
on what you're doing.
And what
So,
state you're in.
Phase 3, you're probably, depending on the amount of step out drilling and stuff, you're probably into the plan of operations level
Yes.
for that, which gives you much higher limits for disturbance.
Yep.
Now you can build miles of drill road and pads, and
Right.
you can do trenching and different things.
Yep. The permit process is a lot lengthier. They have to do a lot more due diligence. You got to hire a lot more people to go out and look at the property.
So towards the end of phase 3, advanced exploration, we're getting into more heading towards development.
Mm-hmm.
So now we're heading towards a mine, and we know there's something there. We're proving it up. We're heading towards a mine. So as you get into that, we get into, like I talked about, with the column testing and the metallurgical testing,
Right.
or for whatever it is. If it's a frac sand mine, you're sending it off. You're doing your conductivity. You're probably sending a bunch of material to potential buyers so they can vet out, do their own stuff, get offtake agreements.
Yep.
In gold, you're doing metallurgical testing. Copper, you're doing that. Rare earths, you're doing all sorts of crazy testing and economic studies and things.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where you start doing your baseline studies for your environmental. You're drilling, monitoring wells. You're studying the water. You're studying the wildlife. You're getting a feel for the baseline so that you've got something to compare to and go back to when you're done mining.
Yep.
And then you're looking at stakeholder engagement.
Yes.
This is where it makes a lot of sense to go out and really engage the community, because early stage community engagement's fine, but you're just, a lot of the time, like when I talk to people really early, I'm like, hey, the odds are 1 in 1,000 this is going to be a mine.
Yeah. Sometimes
So
it's
don't
just,
really worry about it,
yeah, you're better off just to not.
because
And
they
then
get really concerned about something
the
that's
community
likely
can
not
get
to
kind of
happen.
antsy about it. Yeah, we've seen that.
But by the time you get to advanced exploration, it's time to engage the community.
Then you need to go talk to the city council
Because
or
then
the
maybe your odds go from, in advanced exploration, now your odds are maybe not 1 in 1,000, they're 1 in 100 or 1 in 50 or 1 in 10.
yeah.
So it makes a lot more sense.
Well, and you're going to be at that point too. You might be relying on local help, right? So then the word's going to get
Once
out.
you're building core sheds, you're really
Yep. So your
hiring a lot of
best interest is to
contractors.
go and talk to the city and get their help, or just let them know what you're doing and why
City.
you're doing it.
this community, whatever is
Yeah,
around.
community. Yeah, wherever you
It
are.
depends, yeah.
Yeah, it depends.
Yeah, because there's a lot of places where there's not even that.
Yeah.
Talk to the one farmer who lives 20 miles away.
Right. You need to
Yeah.
go be a good steward of the land and go talk to the local community.
So as you get into phase 4, your shift phases 1, 2, 3, very heavy on your geology team. As it shifts to 4, the further it gets along the line, the burden of proving up the mine shifts from the geologists and the prospectors and explorers and geophysicists and scientists, shifts to the engineers and the practical folks.
Yep.
You're shifting to the metallurgists, you're shifting to the engineers, you're getting more into rock mechanics and geotechnical and mine planning and You're engaging attorneys, and you're engaging HR people, and you're engaging
PR
all the
people
other professionals. So,
yes.
so the burden slowly shifts. So by the time you get to phase 4, you're looking at your preliminary economic assessment, which means you've done a lot of drilling, you've done a lot of testing, you've done a lot of engineering, you've got a conceptual mine plan, you've got, by the time your PEA is done, you've got a value, you've got a net present value, so you know, at least at a high level, that it makes sense to, if the net present value is positive, that it makes sense to invest.
Yes.
And now you're looking at a lot of, obviously along the whole process, you're following 43101 standards, SK 1300, things like that. But now you're doing heavier reports, more qualified people, things like that. And even at the PEA level, there's no guarantee of success.
Of course not.
I know a lot of great projects that are PEA level that are still stalled and may not be mined for 50 years or 100. At some point, they'll probably make sense, but it's no guarantee of success. But now you're really getting into the end of the exploration phase. The PEA is really where exploration is molded into development, because past the PEA, the preliminary economic assessment, there's the pre-feasibility study, and then you go full feasibility study. And by the time you get to feasibility study, the involvement of the geologists has shrunk to this, and then all the other people involved is this, because you're looking at equipment selection, tailings impoundment design, once again, all the rock mechanics, the lawyers, the agreements, the all the other stuff, all the permitting stuff, you know, and you're looking at, if you're a junior mining company, you're looking at, okay, you know, do we need to take on a JV partner? How are we going to finance this? Are we going to partner with a royalty streaming company who's going to provide the capital to put it in production? There's just a lot of corporate stuff that happens there, and it really becomes a whole different animal. Now you're in that development phase.
Yeah,
that's really development. So phase 4, the PEA, is really kind of the end of exploration and the beginning of development. And yeah, there's still exploration that occurs on a lot of projects through PFS, through feasibility, like Black Pine's another example. They're working on their feasibility right now. And they've been doing baselines and all that stuff for quite some time, but now they're doing feasibility. But why they've got rigs turning on infill drilling and upgrading the resource, they're still testing targets.
Wow.
To make the resource bigger, because it's still open on multiple ends. And exploration really never ends if you've got a big, cool mine. Kennecott, Rio Tinto, the Bingham Canyon mine, they still have an exploration division, and they're still doing exploration.
Yeah.
And still enhancing their knowledge of the ore body and what's going on doing exploration. So exploration really never ends, but at this PEA, past this level, it really becomes development, and exploration becomes more of a background activity. So for the sake of this episode, we'll go through phase 4 and talk about the PEA. Timeline for the PEA, man, I mean, I've got a year to 2 years on here, but it can be highly variable.
For sure.
And then the cost really can vary. But, you know, by the time you get to this PEA, and a lot of these, you know, high-end estimates are for large polymetallic deposits or big gold mines or things like that. But, you know, by the time you get to that phase, you're in, you know, potentially $50 million or so. So quite a bit.
It's a commitment, that's for sure.
Pretty much all high-risk dollars. But
yeah,
as with the shift from the geos and the prospectors to the other technical professionals, the risk decreases. So while in the beginning you're playing battleship, as you get down into the PEA level, now you're really in the nitty-gritty, proving out the concept, making a business plan, all that stuff. So
yep.
yeah, What
Yeah.
advice do you have for junior explorers?
Advice for junior explorers. I mean, I think a lot of it, it goes a long ways to do your upfront research. You know, make sure that what you're going after is well vetted. Especially, I mean, are we talking if you're going to invest or if you're going to develop on your own?
For the explorers themselves, not investors and explorers,
Yeah.
but for the explorers.
Explorers yourself, yeah, do your homework first. Yeah.
Yeah, and on the flip side of that,
And also make sure that you have tough skin.
yeah, on the flip side of that, I think there's value sometimes in trying a wild idea out. And you can do that, but definitely have a go, no go system in place before you start.
For sure.
That's agreed upon.
Because we've seen
So you're
so
like,
many.
hey, we're going to spend $500,000 on Bob's idea,
Yeah.
and we're going to get it through to drill, and we're going to put one hole in, and if it doesn't hit, we're going to go move on to something else. That's fine to do. So don't be afraid to do that kind of stuff, but definitely have a plan, and then
Yeah, have a plan and then make sure somebody on your team has either done this before or understands mining. Because we've seen a lot of junior miners who are like.
Well, when I say junior explorers, my question was more geared towards junior explorers
Oh,
who know
okay.
what they're doing.
Okay, yeah.
What some advice you have that may be unique. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't explored and you're a dentist or a banker or a guy who owns an insurance firm that thinks you want to get into mining because you saw it on TV,
Stocks are good.
Yeah, just
Stocks are great.
stick to the stocks. Don't try to go
Read
out
the
and do it.
reports
Yeah.
and use AI to break it down for you if you don't understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what advice do you have?
For junior explorers, I would say,
I mean, what's the biggest mistake we've seen junior miners make over the years?
the biggest mistake we've seen junior miners make over the years is
Or one of them?
scaling too quickly and not having capital controls in place.
Yes.
So
I was thinking the same thing.
just going whole hog into a project
Yeah.
and blowing it up and trying to do too many things at once.
Or yes, and getting scattered. We've seen that so many times, especially when a commodity just explodes. Is they're like, oh, we want this deposit. Oh, but we want this one over here. Oh, we want that one there. And then next thing you know, their land package is $500,000 every year.
And the company's got a market cap of $2 million.
Yeah.
So they blow all their money just
So just
trying to hold
focus
it
on that
there.
one area.
Yeah, or not one, but two or three. And I think everybody should have more than one project in their pipeline.
Sure.
So have a few that are related and have synergies. They're the similar type of commodities or similar areas, or you have a team that has expertise in them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't need to stake 6,000 claims at once for most commodities. Like start with 300.
Yeah.
Prove your model, then you can expand. And I get it. Like being a public company, you have to announce what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So if you only stake the 300 claims, you find something great and you announce it, and then everybody comes in and boxes you in, you're stuck. But at the same time, like you can time things and delay things enough so that if you're getting good results, you know, and you can expand your land package before everybody knows about it. But yeah, stay focused and don't just go nuts and spend all your money at once. And I know that's tricky because it's feast or famine.
Yes, it is.
And when they have money, juniors have money, they spend it. And when they don't have money, they try to do the capital preservation. But let's be more of a dimmer switch instead of a light switch. Because we see a lot of light switch behavior. I'd love to do these 10 projects, but I can't because I don't have the money. we just raised $25 million. You guys need to run right now, and we need to do these 25 projects, and they need to be done tomorrow. We don't care. We're going to pay.
We'll pay whatever it takes
to get it done. And then they're out of money, and then nothing ever gets done.
Right.
So
And
that would be my advice.
Yeah.
And then
spend money wisely.
spend money wisely. Do your desktop research. And seriously, if you're in Canada, consider joining some of the organizations that are trying to rein in the markets. There's a lot of naked short selling going on in junior stocks in Canada, and there's just a lot of just junk in their financial system and the rules and stuff up there that's really making it difficult for those companies to raise money and do well, which is why we're seeing so much coming from the Australians right now, and the Canadians are just floundering.
Yeah,
even
they're
with good
quiet.
projects. So there's a couple of groups. There's one in particular, I think it's called Save Canadian Mining or something, and it's about reforming the stock market up there to clean up some of the short sellers and some of the different issues that are really holding down the junior miners. So I think a lot of the juniors should pay more attention to that kind of stuff and kind of band together to fix some of those systemic issues. And then just education. Just in the last couple weeks, we've had a couple clients just buy claims off the internet from random claim sellers, and no due diligence or anything, and there's just no reason to be doing that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, and stick to it, right? It's hard now. It's going to get a lot better.
Well, and
Things are going to get better.
I guess if you are unfamiliar with the landscape of the area you want to work in, call someone who knows it.
Yep.
Like, don't feel like you have to do it on your own. Just hire experts in that area. Hire experts who know how it works.
And make sure they're actually experts and have a good reputation.
Yeah, do some quick due diligence. I mean,
Yeah.
Google reviews go a long way,
Yeah.
right? You know? And,
Yeah.
and there's a few of us out here that will be more than happy to help. And yeah, and if you want to buy a claim online, just call someone else first and make sure that it's legit.
But make sure you can see the records and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, ask for the records.
And I won't get too far into that because not a lot of money was spent, but at the same time, there's a lot of frustration around like.
No, because you just don't
could've
know. Like,
fixed this.
it could get worse as commodities get crazy, right?
It
like
will. I've talked about it a bunch.
Yeah, you know, gold kind of drives the whole exploration market. So when it pops, like, we get all kinds of people coming out of the woodworks, which is exciting. You know, we want to see the prospectors out there prospecting. That's really where the grassroots starts. That's where the greenfield starts, is with people going out and looking for stuff. But you got to make sure that they're doing it correctly, because it's a lot. Staking a claim is not as easy as you think it should be.
No, not at all.
There's a million ways to make a mistake. And if you start with a bad claim and it actually is a good area, that could put your entire project in jeopardy.
Yep.
And you don't want to do that. You don't want to be going back and fixing that kind of mistake.
No, not at all. I mean, in every dollar you're paying in a dispute or giving to attorneys, the dollar you're not spending on drilling and exploration.
Yeah, real project
And
advancement.
with anyone, I mean, the advice I would give to investors, kind of parting, if you're looking to invest in a junior mining company, is look at how their dollars are allocated. Most of their money should be going into more drilling and testing and exploration. There's a lot of companies that are 1-for-1 IR, press releases, investor relations, marketing.
Oof.
For every dollar that goes into actual exploration. And I think it's similar to nonprofits. I understand nonprofit organizations have to spend money on marketing and fundraising and stuff like that. But if $8 out of 10 are going to that, and salaries and different things, and only 2 are going to helping people.
That's not right.
So for junior explorers, as an investor, you want to see, yes, there's administrative expenses. yes, IR and fundraising and investor relations are important, and you need to spend money on that. But it should be a percentage, a minority of your spend, and the rest should be into actual exploration dollars.
Yep.
Yep.
Very good. I like it.
Cool. Any parting advice, parting words of wisdom from the Crystal Pink Hat?
Crystal Pink Hat? No. Let's go out there and explore.
Yeah, we'll see you next week. And I don't know what we're doing next week, so we'll figure it out between now and next week.
Maybe we'll talk about phase 5.
Yeah, we can talk about development. I mean, we do touch that, and I can talk about it for different commodities, but exploration, that's kind of it in a nutshell.
You know, I think we should talk about, maybe not next week, but soon, is the difference of exploration in commodities like we were talking about today, in the gold and silver, and then exploration in aggregates, and then we can see the difference.
Yes, there's a very big difference.
Very big difference.
Yeah.
Very, very different timelines, very different spend.
Yeah, and very different amounts of necessity. So exploration in aggregates can oftentimes be almost unnecessary or can be very minimized.
Yep.
And exploration in proving out gold deposits and things like that is extremely critical.
Yeah, it's very rare to open up a gold mine overnight.
You bought your geological model and your mine plan, and it's the difference between success and bankruptcy.
Yep.
And we've seen it over and over and over again.
Stay diligent.
And we'll see it more as things heat up. See you next week.